World Insight with me, Tian Wei. China's gaokao, or the National College Entrance Examination, has just ended a 4-day run on Monday. A record nearly 13.5 million students have registered for this year's test, an increase of over 500,000 students from last year. The gaokao is not only a crucial moment for millions of students to get a leg up with good universities after many years of hard work, but also a highly anticipated nationwide social event. As China builds a knowledge-based economy, what are the new options for students? And how much competition really is involved in gaokao this year and beyond? For more, let's loop in our panelists. I'm glad to be joined in Beijing. Wang Yan, Director of the Chinese Society of Educational Development Strategy, and also Shenli Wang, Vice Principal of Beijing No. 4 High School International Campus. Welcome to both of you, ladies and gentlemen. While as we speak, almost all the students in China have already taken their college entrance examination, or gaokao, for the year 2024. We should say congratulations, at least, first of all, to all of them, because it's a lot of hard work, as we all know. On the other hand, this year, record number, 13.5 million students going to gaokao. Wow. Wang Shi, tell me more about your thoughts on the gigantic number itself. What does it mean in terms of competition?
It's a really interesting topic, as always. We know that it's like a gaokao in everyone's eyes. It's a brutal, I should say. It's not just like the contents they test, but also the lines that like several days for the students to take. The students are preparing for it, not only for their academic preparation only, but also for some like a body and mentally as well to prepare for this gaokao. So it's a kind of we hope that the gaokao can have more reform in the future. Hopefully can make it shorter and also maybe easier. But compared to more students to take gaokao, it will be very tough to be selected or to pass what they imagined the benchmark.
13.5 million. What does that mean to you, Yan, when you look at this number?
Well, the number will be definitely the largest compared with other countries in terms of those taking this college entrance examination. But if we look at, and also it will be huge if we look at those who can finally be selected into the top ranking universities. But last year, statistics shows that the higher education enrollment rate has reached 85%. That means the majority of them through this college entrance examination will enter the university and the college.
Let's take a look at some of the latest reforms that has been done over the past 10 years. I remember, Wang Shi, at the year 2014, it was the time when China's college entrance examination readjusted the subjects in which students can participate. It used to be humanity vis-a-vis science subjects. So if you're into humanity majors, you're supposed to take certain subjects. If you're into the science, you're supposed to take certain subjects. And it was much more than 5 or 6 earlier. But since the year 2014, it's changed to 3+3, meaning Chinese, math, and English. That's must for everybody. But at the same time, you can choose out of the others in order to fit into the 3+3. How has that been working so far, Wang Shi?
Different provinces right now, they have their own steps to work on this kind of procedure process of the reform of gaokao, because like everybody just focus, they have great concern about what kind of gaokao will be like, because people will prepare for gaokao, and not just like unconsciously, but on purpose, starting from early time, either like, what you mentioned about like from the primary or the secondary.
So it's like exam-centered studies, it seems, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of, it's starting from the result-driven, thought. Then they will have like academic subject-driven and also focus study. But the thing that is, I think the government really want to make a change, not about like the test, but actually they really want to change the education philosophy or the learning approach of the students that is based on the identity of the diversified students, their personalities and the competency to give their what they really match and fit for their competency in the future. So the students should have their own personality with their own growth path. It's not just like what they can acquire in the higher education, the subjects, the contents, or the knowledge. I think they want them to know that the students, they have their own choice to select what they want. And also that is the pillar, or that is we call it the elements to make up the big community. That's a society, right?
But these, once again, are the goals. How have they been achieved? I mean, you, Wang Shi, have been tutoring students who are going to international campuses of high schools in China, meaning these students are likely to skip China's gaokao. How do you see the results of this reform so far?
Well, not that kind of optimistic so far. I mean, because the people already have very stereotype that they want to show their students much better just based on their test scores. So that is like backwards. They will say, hey, my kids can have a better result in some specific subjects. Then they will choose these subjects as their test subjects in order to study that kind of major. It's not based on what their passion, what their character pursuit. They're most based on what kind of result to show you are above the average, you beat the peer. So that is not what the government really want to see. Because it seems like what you want to see in the upper level, the students or the parents, the society, they will consider from different perspective, which they are already used to.
Well, I guess that's a sense of pragmatism, isn't it, that you just mentioned regarding a student's future. Having said that, though, Yan, what do you think about the results so far of the reform?
Well, I think it's getting better. For example, the first is the students, the examination still is regarded as the most objective compared with the college entrance examination system in many other parts of the world, because it's based on this written examination, although there is the element of comprehensive quality assessment. The college entrance examination actually is the most debated issue in China and across the world. Actually, I don't think there would be a satisfactory college entrance examination scheme that would satisfy all the stakeholders, all the parents, or all the students in China, also in other parts of the world. So whatever reform, I believe, will receive the criticism. Just that's the case in China because it's very competitive, and you have mentioned the figures. So what we can do, actually, the first is to give more choices. The second is so that these arrangements of the subjects can tailor to the students' interests and capabilities, and to give more, also to make our parents and also students to be seem more promising and for their choices and also for the prospect for their future.
There's one important development of the world, that is the speed of changes in terms of technology and science. Artificial intelligence, for example, its application and its possibilities for the future might transform the overall job market, also transform the education worldwide as to what are the goals of education and what will be the most important capabilities of human being receiving an education and will be the purpose of education. So with that in mind, Wang Shi, I want to have your thoughts on this. How is this discussion about the China's college entrance examination, which is a turning point for all students, likely to fit into this whole overall discussion about AI and the future kinds of jobs, or the future kinds of human beings that we want to cultivate?
To continue with your comments about what I'm saying above, I think you talk about pragmatic. That's great. Because like the parents right now, they care about not what they can get into, what kind of university their kids can go, but actually want to see what kind of education they acquire in the college, as well get preparation readiness for their future career and the path of the job. So that is a pragmatic, purpose. So just like what we discussed for the gaokao, students take a 3+ what based on two things. I think they probably have two criteria. One is that they think they are good at the subjects, so they can have better scores compared to the others, right? The second thing, actually, they not just pursue something that is not good, but they believe it's very pragmatic for them to study. For example, like a technology, STEAM, and so on. So for the high-tech thing, I think that is a very, very hard for the people to figure out what kind of thing they should learn in the future based on only one test to cut off. So that is the thing, they want to see, they want to know what is the kind of job they are not, they, suffered from the technology development in the future.
Actually, I quite much agree with the findings of a analysis or study by UNESCO. They have examined all the key concepts of the future competencies or core competencies for the students in the future, and they have synthesized them into 128 concepts, the key competencies, and finally they got 10 core competencies, which are regarded as most essential, most important for the students in the future work and life. So the number one actually is the emotional intelligence. Number two is empathy. Number three is creativity. And number four is the collaborative skills. So actually, AI can perform many significant, sophisticated tasks, but they don't have the emotions. And actually, the emotions and values and attitudes is essential to the competences. Things like the perseverance and also the passion are only unique to the human being, which are also very important for the students' learning.
So since our talk today is more about gaokao, the college entrance exam, how much do you think these kind of thoughts about the skills that people need to have for the future really filtered into this exam system, and also enrich the imagination of those who design the exam, and therefore send these important messages to the students and their parents?
Well, the actual examinations are designed for selecting the students into the university and college. If we look into the future, I believe someday in the future, with the rapid development of the higher education, the tertiary education enrollment rate will soon reach perhaps close to 100%. That means every student will eventually have a place in the university and college. Then the function of the examination will soon change. What will soon change from the selecting the students in terms of their capabilities towards the selecting the students and orienting them towards the programs that best fit with their interests and also best fit with their capabilities.
Of course, nobody expects the college entrance examination to change overnight in order to be all these areas, but it is important to bear that in mind. After all, it's only a stage of life for the students. For the next 40 to 50 years, they need to figure out their career path and what kind of life they want, right?
For me, personally, I think adaptability, that is a very important competency for the students to acquire and to build up. Another one is like critical thinking, because artificial intelligence really give overwhelming, information towards you just one click. So you should know what kind of thing is real, what is really beneficial for your help, for your development, and also which one is fake. As well as I think the students and people should have another ability that is accelerate learning ability, which means that everything just changes so fast. You cannot just imagine, hey, what kind of thing that I learn in the future I can use, but you should go with the technology development realm to see, I can catch up with everything. They need you to get accelerated learning ability.
Right. Are the students and their parents coming up to you and say, Wang Shi, what can I do? How is my kid going to be able to fit into all these possibilities for the future? I'm worried or I'm excited. What are they telling you?
Well, I would tell them just like, just what I'm saying to the students who apply for the college in the future and in the overseas, like, first, you should have the passion. It's like, enjoy yourself at the right time, just like the important thing, especially after pandemic. People have all kinds of, we call it well-being issues. And so that students, they should have this kind of capacity to say what kind of passion they have, and then you should do whatever you can to find the thing that you like. Because that's the first thing. You enjoy yourself first, not to learn something that you feel a lot of pain in it. The second thing that is you shouldn't know, definitely you shouldn't know what kind of thing in the future can really help you to make you stand in the social status that you can show your identity. So it's not just like the thing that I learned what other people learn. You make yourself like the common person, the common, which means like everybody, right? It's just like an ordinary. No, we want you to be independent and also individualized and also identity person.
Very interesting.
So
how do they react to your suggestions?
I think, well, it's really, they said, out of their, imagination, they said they are very pragmatic. They should find a job. They will say, I think sometimes it's not a knowledge like you learn. It's the knowledge. That's not important. You should know how to acquire and seek and find knowledge that can equip you to empower you in the future. That's important.
Right. As there are so many students from China, and China is a large exporting country, quote unquote, of students to universities everywhere in the world. So if there's such a huge number of Chinese students taking the college entrance examination, the gaokao, how well is this result of the gaokao being received by universities and organizations elsewhere in the world? How relevant is it, Wang Shi?
Well, actually, you can find a tendency. The schools outside of China, a college, university, they take gaokao as their criteria or reference to see whether students are capable or qualified for their, candidates or for their admission. That's true. And also not only some some small university, but also some big national research university in US, they consider gaokao as part of their admission requirements for the students to study the gaokao curriculum or the national curriculum instead for the AP, IB, A level, what kind of internationalized curriculum. So students, they take a gaokao, and also we have a post-gaokao track for the student to select. As we know that it's not only for the gaokao to apply for the college with the gaokao scores, but also we have a lot of agenda programs here in China.
Fascinating. I have a discussion about gaokao, the college entrance examination, almost every year, but every time there's enormous amount of new content into this discussion, and things are evolving. So thank you so much, Wang Shi and Wang Yan, for your expertise and also for the stories you are sharing with us about Chinese gaokao, the college entrance exam.